Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Lyrical Lessons for Life. Hi, Joe.
Hello, Kelsey. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm traveling right now, so we are doing a little different episode, right?
Right.
Today.
Absolutely. We have to have the ebbs and flows, right? Go with the flow of life.
Go with the flow. And we're finishing our why segment in July. Okay, and today's discussion is going to be just an intro discussion to this why our why changes. And
Hmm.
our hope, we were talking just before we started recording this, that this is going to be something we want to bring up and bubble up some questions and thoughts in your head so that way we can come back next week, do a song, and try and wrap up this idea of why our why changes.
Indeed. Indeed. So as I was doing a little research on the idea of our why changing, of course, I went to the why expert first, right? Simon Sinek. And he actually made this statement that was really intriguing to me, that the why doesn't change. Our why doesn't change. And as I sat with that for a minute and then thought about my own life, I called liar, liar, pants on fire. My why has changed many times. And so I listened to a short video, and he said, we actually have one why fully formed, maybe late in our teens, and it's based on an origin story, and it's permanent. And it really made me think back in my life, some of the things I knew as a kid that I then dropped, forgot, buried, compartmentalized as I got older and had more human experiences and, had trauma and life happened. And I'm like, hey, maybe he's right. Maybe the ultimate why doesn't change. But on the daily, day to day, my why changes because new experiences happen and I ebb and flow as we are today with life. So I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, so if I just apply it to my own life of becoming a musician and what my why is now, no way did I ever even think I was going to be a musician. That never even crossed my mind the majority of my life. And so that's nuts to think that maybe the why has never changed. So then when I think about that, it makes me think about consciously what's going on. Because if I had known that maybe one day this would be my why or my conscious why, right, of a goal or something that I'm interested in doing and such and approaching, I think it would have affected my path, right?
Mhm.
So if I think about that idea of our why not changing consciously, mine has big time, right? But
Right.
I but as far as on a deeper level, maybe there is some truth there, that maybe it was always there. And in my attempt to fulfill my why and to be curious about my why, my actions are now I'm a musician now that I'm doing, now I'm doing this.
Mhm.
So that there could be
Ooh.
truth in both. Yeah.
Right. But at the same time, you had to have the experiences that took you to this point of knowing what music does for you and those that you touch. So the path, and one of the things I know deeply is that we come here, our souls come here with a journey. And if that's the why he's referring to, that why is embedded in there and it's the origin story of our human experience, I get it. But like you just said, consciously, it's like, huh? Wait a minute. I have to get to the point of knowing and having the awareness of and being able to listen enough so that I can create the life that I want or that it's meant to be. And you had to have all those experiences. So your why has to change, right?
Right. And I do think that if someone had said, "Hey, here's the path you're gonna go on. This is exactly what it looks like." I don't know if I would have taken it. I don't know.
Right.
So
That's a fun thought.
there's an amount of trust in that, this is why we focus so much on present moment, and that's why I love this idea, and that has helped me so much.
Right.
This idea of focusing on the present, you really can't mess up then, right? Because if you're focusing on the present and you're trying to think about how you're feeling about things, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, it helps to bubble up some contrast, make decisions of what you like and what you don't like. You will go down a path that might be pretty close to what was already laid out for you. Then you get
Mhm.
those experiences. But if I know my fundamental why, from this origin why that you're talking about, I don't know if I'd be like, that this is a little scary. I'm not ready to know all those things,
Right.
right?
Right.
So consciously, I think our why changes and evolves, and there's
Yeah.
new layers. But I do see some consistencies with mine.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And in fact, what you just said brings me to an example that I came to when I was thinking about this. And that is that, I didn't wake up one day and decide to be a lung cancer advocate for education and research. There was an event in my life that led me there. And, that was my mom being diagnosed with lung cancer. And it led me down this path of knowing that there's all these facts surrounding lung cancer, and I wanted to advocate to bring awareness to that. Had my mom not been diagnosed with lung cancer, I had already stepped a little bit into it because of a friend of mine who's a lung cancer survivor, but it would not have led to the same passionate piece of me relating back to my mom's experience, the loss of my mom, and then the community inside of that. So that's a conscious shift, just like you're talking about. And you brought in the word feeling. So you and I have been talking a lot about doing this to feel that. And I really believe that as we grow, mature, evolve, we and awaken to what's meant to be, that we live inside of this transformative state of being. And you feel what's good and what's right and what's light that moves you closer to maybe even the origin story why, because we're really here to feel things, not get things, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And our why will consciously change if we think about how we're feeling, right? So
Mhm.
as I keep thinking, I'm like, oh well, this feels good, or even if I'm writing a song, oh, this feels good, right? Then I start to pivot and I start to pivot and I keep pivoting, and then I'm just doing a lot of things that feel good. My conscious why will also feel like it's changing some, because
Yeah,
like you said, I'm bringing up new experiences. And I think the key with all this is what you already said, is just this idea of being in the flow. You know, just flowing with it.
right,
You don't
right.
know what's coming up, and you can embrace that you don't know it, focus on the feeling, and you're consciously, maybe your why does change. um, I almost don't care though if my center why has been the same the whole time, because if I'm focusing on the present and how I'm feeling, it's
Yeah,
this fun, crazy journey. And
yes,
I'm grateful for all the zigs and zags, right?
yes, absolutely. I know it's that visual of success is not just the movement forward. It's like, right? It's all over the place. Um, I wrote down some words that maybe um, people can think about when they really try to put themselves in a place of what is their why, and maybe looking back at the other why in July episodes that we've had, and to further our conversation next week. um, and it's just words that really align to why our why might change. And it's wisdom. We have more wisdom, right? We are more open. We may go through something. There may be trauma or tragedy. We may awaken and be in the midst of an awakening. We can start listening and shifting. We find community that will drive us in a different direction. And we dip our toe in the water of something new, right?
Like Yeah.
that can help us. So I would love, and I know as we kind of do something different this week, which is so fun, and we're totally dipping our toe into something new with this,
Yeah.
premiere episode, preview episode, what are we calling it? Um, that if, people can think about where they're at and where they're at with based on their why, we can have a really great discussion when we use our song next week that you're going to sing, which is what?
We're doing Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten. Yeah.
Love that song.
And this idea of bringing these up, we would love to see in the chat what's coming up for you. And so, Joe, when you said wisdom, right away, I was thinking of parts of my life where I gained a lot of wisdom uh, about certain things that help me, mold and help me zig and zag a little, and also dipping your toe into something new. Doing that really helps us home
Mhm.
in on what we're kind of going for, what our why is currently, right? And this idea of new experiences helps as well. And so I wonder, this could also be something, or this part of the episode is an intro into next week. And the goal with this is we would like for everyone to think about these things. And if you're willing in the chat, let us know what's coming up for you, because I think this topic is a big one of why our why changes and it connects to all of us differently. And so it'd be really interesting to hear from everyone else how it's connecting.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Um, and in what you just said, there's a Tony Robbins quote that talks about alignment and joy. And it's the real joy in life comes from finding your true purpose and aligning it with what you do every single day. Yeah. And
That,
and I always wonder when we hear your true purpose, there's no pressure in that. But oftentimes we feel the pressure of having a purpose, because other people have put expectations on us.
oh, having a purpose, having a why. You have to do this. No, 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 no. And that's why I focus a lot more on how does this make me feel?
Right
And if
on.
you do that, then I'm just doing things that make me feel good, right? And then through that, focusing on the feeling in the present moment, you end up with a why. You end up with a purpose, right?
Mhm.
You don't find the why, you don't find the purpose. I don't
Nope.
I don't feel that I used to try to, right? I was trying to be a chemist, right? I thought that was my purpose. No, no, no. You don't find those things. You think about what you focus on the present moment, what it makes you feel.
Yep.
And then the purpose and the why present themselves.
Absolutely.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yep.
that. And I get so animated. I know I'm getting animated, but I'm really finding that it makes it that there is no pressure then.
Right.
Right.
Because
It's
you're letting life flow
yes. And
and you're
that's
not forcing things to be in a box that may have been created for you that you stepped into. And all of a sudden you're like, wait, can we open that lid back up so I can come back out of that box, please?
right. It's so often that our why is based on a condition.
Say that again.
It's so often that our why is based on a
Ooh,
condition.
right.
My why in life is to X, to be a famous musician. Wait, wait, no, that's not my why. My why is that music has helped me so much, and I love sharing that with others and feeling connected. And I don't even know if that's really, I'm not so sure your why can fully be discussed in just words. It's also
Mhm.
tied in with feelings too.
Right.
But it's not a thing to achieve, right?
Nope.
Um, and if we focus on that, what happens is then we just focus on the path to get to this thing, and maybe we don't like it there. So the best way to do it is you just focus on the feeling, and then your why will present itself, and you're going to be where you feel good.
Right. Well, that's just it. The goal in life is living unconditionally, love and joy and peace. And that doesn't come from forcing things. That comes from settling in to what is in front of you in the flow of life. I had a friend one day, she said, I just realized life isn't happening to me anymore. It's happening for me. And I mean, this was years ago when she said this, and I was like, oh, I get the difference. There is a major difference when we accept that life is happening for us and when we stay open to what that looks like. And you know what you just said actually aligned pretty well to what Simon Sinek says, that maybe the why and the origin story doesn't change. It's just that we evolve into it over time when we stay open. So, he's very black and white when he says things. And I like to mix in a little bit of that gray, like, wait a second, what about this piece? Because I don't find things to have periods at the end of them.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
dot, dot, dot.
Yeah, there's a dot 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 involved in there. I
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is I'm really excited to talk more. I want to know if anyone else has consciously noticed that their why has changed. Mine has. And the conscious why changing for me was a condition. It was I was going to be a chemist and this is what success looked like, right? And then I that changed, right? And so uh perhaps there is some truth in what he's saying, and that maybe all along I knew, this is how we get, I think, in places we don't want to be,
Right.
and
Oh,
not being okay with our
absolutely.
why moving and grooving consciously, right? It's
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yes. And so when and how has your why changed? What fueled the change? You know?
Experience and wisdom, which is what you brought up, and
Yeah.
some of the several things that you brought up, and dipping your toe into something new. And so I would love to hear from everyone else about what were there any pivotal moments in your life where like this thing that doesn't seem that big, it changed everything for
Right.
me. Or and you don't have to share, but even thinking of it yourself, because I think we all have those moments where we're like, that's one of the moments that was
Right.
big.
And are you inside of that moment right now? Are you in the midst of that, in that space right now? Because I know, personally speaking, I am. And I deeply know that I know why I'm here. I get that. That's my origin story. I deeply know it. Navigating, taking action and feeling into everything that comes with that continues to, make my path kind of look like this. So, I'm curious if anyone's inside of that right now as well.
Oh, I love that.
We'd
This
love to
is
go
going to be a
there.
really great conversation. So,
All right.
comment below or comment during. We are playing this live right now. We will see you next Friday for our next Lyrical Lessons for Life about why our why changes.
And Kelsey will, tempt us with her beautiful song and, your rendition of the
Yes.
Natasha Bedingfield song, Unwritten. Can't wait.
I can't wait to chat with you again, Joe. I
I
love doing
know.
this with you. This is
So
so
do I, sister. So do I.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for
Love and light, you guys.
all
Love
right.
and
Bye bye.